Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky. I'm coming to you from my home here in Cave Junction, Oregon. The subject for tonight is cops and courts, the nuts and bolts which keep the political machinery running. These are the musings of a retired police sergeant. What happens to a man, any man, who kisses his wife goodbye in the morning as he goes off to work? He expects to come home, doesn't he? What if the job he is required to perform radically affects that mindset? Would he begin to look for another job? This man has a uniform, which makes him stand out amongst other men and easily identifies him as to his purpose. He has a badge of authority granted him by his corporate employer, who puts him into harm's way. As such, private corporations do not have jurisdiction over the living sovereign people, but such corporate jurisdiction applies only to those who are dead fictional subjects of the corporation, who consent to be members of the corporation, either through force, fear, or ignorance. This man is not trained in making the distinction between the two classes of those human beings who are freemen and slaves, the people he makes contact with on a daily basis. This man has a gun, taser, and baton to make sure his authority is obeyed. They follow corporate policy, color of law. They are not trained in law. They impose force ignorance through rules, regulations, and legislative policies upon people who live beyond such corporate jurisdiction. For not all men are subject to corporate rules. Therein lies the harm's way their leadership has placed them in, for they are the enforcers of satanic control. Because they are held to their training, they are not permitted to use their personal intelligence in resolving the issues they find themselves dealing with. Hence they act in predictable but limited ways, through force and violence. At heart, they are not out there to harm anyone. They are just plain scared when the illusions of authority in place, which have been bestowed upon them to allow them to function in a dysfunctional manner, begins to fail them. Fear causes them to overreact, especially when playing to their peer group, made up of those possessed of similarly shared pack mentality of gang think. In essence, is that not what cops, courts, and judges are? Gang members who profit through force, fear, confusion, wielded upon a larger but disorganized gang of what is called the public. I do not condone violence against anyone. I do, however, condone self-defense. We, each of us, are endowed with the unalienable rights by our Creator to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, or the pursuit of property. A uniform or a badge does not grant any man the right or authority to kill another over fanciful illusions which have been interpreted by some as a corporate license to kill. Illusions are just what they are, satanic thoughts which divide, oppose, and bring conflict and fear into one's life. I can assure you, the cops are more afraid of you, the people, than you are of them. For if you woke up to the fact that each of you possess the power of intelligence you were gifted with when born, you would see the cops, courts, and corporate lawyers are vastly outnumbered by a heavily armed population who come to realize they are free men and not bound by the thought that self-defense is a bad thing. When that fail-safe trigger guard is removed, and the people have been pushed to the point where they have no further space to retreat to, Katie, bar the door. It is then that such men of uniform, guns, tasers, and batons will be looking at their jobs and determining whether giving up their lives is worth going to work. That process of freedom is awakening all over the world now. It is now coming to America. I grieve for my former brothers in blue who have been corrupted by their satanic training. Thank you for listening.